Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be testing out and reviewing the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Flawless Wear Concealer. Now this concealer retails for $29 US. It can be found in 22 different shades. I grabbed the shade 3W to try out today. You get 0.25 ounces worth of product, and it has a shelf life of 24 months. 24 months. So once you take this out of the package, it'll last you 2 years, or it's supposed to. It's good for 2 years, which I think that's amazing. The most I'd seen in a concealer is 12 months, and the least I've seen is 3 months. So 24 months. That's certainly a plus, especially if you're not one to use a whole lot of concealer on a regular basis, because this will certainly last you. Now the description for this concealer is pretty straightforward and to the point, which I love. It is supposed to last you for up to 15 hours, which is great. I've seen claims of like 24 hours or, crazy amounts of hours, but no one really wears concealer for that long. 15 hours is a little bit more realistic, especially if you have a job where you're there for from 7 to 7 or even longer, stuff like that. So this is supposed to last you for up to 15 hours. It is supposed to feel comfortable and lightweight on the skin. It stays seamless, or it claims to stay seamless without creasing. It is water, perspiration, transfer, and humidity resistant, and you get a natural matte finish out of this concealer. It also has a precision wand applicator. It is oil-free, ophthalmologist tested, dermatologist tested. It won't clog your pores, and it is fragrance-free. So let's go ahead and get started with the concealer. Now, per usual, I am going to be testing this concealer out both with and without a color corrector underneath it, just to see what kind of coverage this truly does deliver by itself, or if it needs the help of a corrector in order to completely conceal this darkness right here. So the one that I'm going to be using for today is my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector in the shade Medium to Deep. So I'm just going to be grabbing a little bit of that, placing it underneath this right side here. All right, so now that that is done, I'm going to jump off camera just really quickly in order to apply some foundation onto the entire face before coming back and concealing. Okay, so now I am back, foundation is on, and now it is time for concealer. So it has your typical doe foot applicator. That's what this concealer comes with. This is what this particular shade looks like, which I think will suit my under eye area quite nicely. Now the doe foot applicator does grab quite a bit of product, so I'm going to scrape some of that off just so that I don't have as much. And I'm going to start off over here on this right side. All right, so there it is. Now I'm going to be going in with my Deluxe Crease Brush in order to blend this out. Since I didn't apply a whole lot of product underneath the eye, I don't want to use my damp beauty blender because that's just going to absorb some of this concealer into it, and I'm not going to be left with much product underneath the eye whatsoever. If I had used a lot of concealer, then I probably would have opted for the sponge because it does absorb some of the product. But since I didn't use a whole lot, that's why I decided to use this one. All right, so there's the right side. Now the left side. All right, so there it is. I don't feel like I'm getting full coverage. Perhaps I need to add a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit more right here and right here because I can still see the darkness under the eyes. Like I said, I didn't use a whole lot, so perhaps that is why. And it's always better to start off small and then work your way up so that you don't have too much product underneath the eyes right away. So let me just add a little bit more. See if I can build this up too. All right, going back with my brush and blending it in. All right, so that certainly helped. A little bit more definitely helped underneath the eyes. Let me just blend out the edges and then blend it into the skin a little bit more. All right, and I am going to be setting the concealer just simply because I don't like how shiny it looks underneath the eyes right now. So nothing to do with whether or not it's settling into the fine lines because it's really not as of this moment. I'm going to grab a little bit of my RCMA No Color Powder with my damp sponge here. Gonna shake it off, and then whatever's left over, that's what I use to set the under eye area. I find that if I overdo it, it looks really dry, and it's kind of uncomfortable because it is so dry. But a little tiny bit goes a long way with anything. All right, now the other side. All right, so there is the under eye done. I feel like I'm getting similar coverage on both sides. I don't know, what do you all think? I think that they look about the same. Maybe this one a little bit more than this one. Like you can still see a little bit of darkness right here, but not by a whole lot. So not a huge difference between the color corrected under eye and the non-color corrected side. As of right now, the under eye does feel really lightweight, and I am getting quite a bit of coverage, and it doesn't look bad underneath the eyes at all. Although I must say I prefer the way that the under eye looks over here. It just looks a little bit more smooth to me than this side. So yeah, that could have something to do with the color corrector. I'm not really sure. But overall, I feel like I'm getting great coverage underneath both eyes. So now let me zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye after initial application. All right, so this is what the under eye area currently looks like. As you can see, I feel like I'm getting similar coverage. So yeah, both sides look good. All right, so now that that's done, I'm gonna jump off camera really quickly once more in order to finish the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. All right, so now I'm back, makeup is done. So far, so good. I am really excited about this one. I really like the way that this looks underneath the eyes, especially on this side. It just looks really smooth. It doesn't look overly done. It doesn't look heavy, even though I did apply a little bit more. I didn't just apply like the one layer. You all saw I applied a little bit more, and it's providing me with really good coverage. Now, I couldn't find the coverage anywhere listed on the Estee Lauder website, but the Sephora website has this listed as a medium coverage concealer, which for medium coverage, this looks pretty darn good underneath the eyes. My dark circles are quite dark. They're pretty severe, you know. I don't run into a whole lot of products that can completely conceal it. This is looking really good, and it's medium coverage. This is a medium coverage concealer, so it is currently 9:50 in the morning. I do plan on wearing this the entire day, and of course, I am going to be coming back halfway through the day in order to show you all some close-ups and to talk to you all about how the concealer has been wearing up to that point. So I will see you all back here in a few hours for my midday check-in. Okay, so now I am back for my midday check-in. It is currently 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock on the dot. Now, so far, it still looks pretty good. So let me zoom you all in so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so here it is. I think the left side perhaps looks just a little bit dry. Just a little bit dry to me, but it looks good. It's still, both sides still look pretty much the same as they did this morning, with the exception of it looking a little tiny bit dry over here. But as far as cracking, settling into fine lines, moving around, separating, none of that. All right, so there you have it. That is a pretty quick check-in. I'm still pretty pleased with the way that this is wearing and the way that this feels underneath the eyes. It doesn't feel heavy or overly done or super dry or anything like that. It has not moved around, as you all saw. It still feels very comfortable, and I'm still quite content and happy with the way that it looks. Not very often do I run into concealers that I'm like excited about, but I'm pretty excited about the way that this looks. So anyway, I don't want to jinx it, so I won't say any more. I will see you all back here at the end of the night for my final thoughts on this concealer. Okay, so now I am back for my final check-in. It is currently, what time is it? 7:19. So I've had this concealer on now for a little over 9 hours, I believe. Just a little bit over 9 hours, maybe 9.5, I think. Now, before I get into my overall thoughts on this concealer, I'm going to zoom you all in one last time so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after 9 hours of wear. All right, so this is the current situation at the end of the day. The left side looks a little bit dry to me, but aside from that, it has not moved around. It has not settled into my fine lines. It still looks, okay. However, the right side still looks pretty darn good. It looks pretty smooth. The coverage is still there, and it has not settled. It has not cracked. It has not moved around. It looks good. All right, so there you have it. Those are my results at the end of a 9-hour day. I personally prefer it with my Becca corrector. I really like the way that it looks, and I like the way that it wore throughout the entire day. It looked very smooth underneath the eyes. It doesn't look overly dry or anything like that. I feel like the corrector certainly helped keep it nice and moisturized. Because it is a matte concealer, I did set it with a powder, so it does look a little bit dry over here without my tacky, creamy corrector underneath it. But with the corrector, it looks really smooth. And although I'm not getting full coverage because this isn't classified as a full coverage concealer, totally fine. It looks good. It really helps lighten the darkness underneath the eyes. And if you're not someone that necessarily wants to completely conceal the under eye area, you just want to lighten it up a little bit and kind of just look a little bit more put together, this would be a great option. Or if you're someone that doesn't have the darkness underneath the eyes that I do, like if you are just looking to conceal light dark circles or a little bit of darkness underneath the eyes, this is perfect because for one, you're not going to need as much product, and for two, it stays in place the entire day. I really, really like it. The only thing that I would suggest is that if you're not using the Becca corrector, that you moisturize the under eye area well so that this doesn't look excessively dry underneath your eyes. Not that it's an excessively dry formula, but I personally pretty much always like to set my under eye because it does look a little bit too dewy sometimes. I like to set it for it to look a little bit more matte so that also like the hollows underneath my eyes aren't as pronounced. So that's why I usually set my concealers. I don't like it when it looks pretty shiny underneath. I usually just always set it. So if you're someone like that likes to set your concealer, if you're like me and you like to set your concealers, then make sure you moisturize before you apply the concealer. Otherwise, I think you're gonna love it. I really like it. This has definitely earned its place in my top drawer. I can certainly see myself using this on a regular basis on days where I don't want the full heavy glam, where I'm not looking to completely conceal the under eye area, but I am looking to look a little bit more refreshed. This is what I'm gonna be grabbing with my Becca correctors. So those are my thoughts on this concealer. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's product review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you all. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.